Keep doing it, baby. Keep doing it. Yeah. Love it. I can understand why that one got some votes. That's a good one.
Whoa. This is my first time hearing this. Where did this come?
That's a good one, huh?
Isn't
that
great?
We
have several.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was fantastic, whoever did that.
The Marine has been on his game.
Good stuff.
He's had a little help from computers, but other than that, he's on his game.
Yeah, the bots now.
Right.
Those robots.
Was that a bot or what was that? I don't know.
Back
Well,
in
you had
my
to take a
day.
little bit of original ability, right? You had to
I gave it words.
You had to feed it a little something. Feed it a little ticker tape, whatever it used to be, right?
I gave it the genre of music I wanted.
I think that's good. That's absolutely good. By the way, because you're playing the music, I wanted to start with something today because I went to TD Garden Monday night to see Jeff Lynne and ELO. Do you even know who Jeff Lynne and ELO are?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is? Do you know who that is? Okay, Electric Light Orchestra, right?
Okay, I know that.
Big band of the 1970s out of the UK. So obviously our UK friends know about Jeff Lynne and the ELO, right? And this is their farewell tour. And so Miss Robin is a huge fan. ELO is her favorite group ever. Okay, so I did this. I bought the tickets back for her birthday in June. And of course, the concert was
What a guy.
was Monday. I know, right?
Yeah.
But there's always a but. But the line was incredibly long to get into the Garden. I have never seen anything like that, not even for a sports event. Celtics playoffs, forget it. There's not a line like that getting in. The line snaked all the way down the entire block of, I'm trying to remember what the cross street there is. Anyway, it took us 50 minutes to get into the Garden.
So were you coming up the back?
Yes.
The back way now. So
Yes.
they funnel everybody through that way now.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, when I would go to games with my dad, you just come right in through the escalators. There would be like on either side, and North Station would be like right in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they funnel everybody into that back entrance, and they just cram people in there like you're at like a rave or something like that, and it's terrible. I don't understand it. They're trying to control traffic by making traffic, in my opinion, but I'm not a city planner or whatever. But
I got to go there next Friday. I hate hearing all this.
I'm sorry, but I gotta warn you. It just wasn't fun. It sucked the life out of the night. We were all fired up for a great concert. And by the way, the concert was great. Jeff Lynne, first of all, has not lost a beat. He looked like he stepped right out of 1975. It's amazing. So, I mean, it was just like out and back into a time warp. And most everybody in the concert, not everyone, but I'd say the overwhelming majority in the Garden was packed. I mean, to the gills. So it was very much an athletic event, type of atmosphere. Everybody was, my age or close to it anyway, because ELO was a big group when I was a teenager.
yeah.
And the music was fantastic, and they've changed over the band and the orchestral part of it, and new people involved from the original group clearly. But Lynn is obviously still the original, and they're still churning it out, and they haven't missed a beat. I just was amazed that it took us almost an hour to get into the damn building.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Just like I said, it makes you want to just stay home and crack on the big TV.
I hear you.
I know, right?
I hear ya.
All right, that's what we'll be doing this weekend too. Except you're going to go to San Francisco.
I am. That's true. Yeah, first time. So
This is your maiden voyage to San Francisco.
first time to San Francisco, first time to Levi Stadium. So I actually do have a spreadsheet where I'm keeping track of all the stadiums. This is such a humble brag.
No. This is great. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And I'm jealous. I wanted to do that too. That's
Yeah.
great.
So I've kept track, and I believe this is like 24 or 25 out of the 32 or 31 technically, because MetLife is
for two teams. Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe I'm like 24, 25. But
You're getting there.
Yeah, but unfortunately, with some of the ones are NFC West, so now I have to wait until the next round where they play the NFC West, because I've never been to Seattle, for example. So like some of the ones are still probably 4 years away from me checking them off.
Yeah.
But
But you get it
I'm
done
here
in
for-
4 years' time.
I'm here for the long haul. You know that. So
yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
get it done. Yeah.
Well, then you got to cruise the Embarcadero. You got to go. I mean, you can do some of the touristy things, like you go to the Ghirardelli Chocolate Factory, which is always kind of fun. It's always good to bring that significant other in your life a little candy,
A little sweet treat.
Yeah, a little sweet treat. So it's pretty good stuff.
Yep.
But so the seafood's pretty good. But listen, if you don't go to In-N-Out Burger, you're a nut.
Well, I used to live in Los Angeles.
So then you know.
I've been to In-N-Out Burger 100 times.
And you got to get a double animal style. You just know the way to order it.
Yeah, I like the fries. You order them well done.
Well, order them well done, but also get them animal style as well,
Yeah.
because then they put the sauce and the onions in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, you gotta get them well though, because then they're a little bit more crunchy.
Yeah.
And that they're good.
Yeah.
like that.
Well, all right. So you got that
Yep.
going for you
Oh,
at least
yeah.
this weekend, right? So much for the football. I
was waiting for that.
I don't want to be Doggy Downer today. I really don't. Or Debbie Downer today. I don't. Wah wah wah. You have that one, Marine? You got that one? He's looking for it. Wait. Here it comes. Wait for it. Yeah.
There you go.
I had
Spelling it WHO, not WOM.
Womp womp womp. I just, after watching last Thursday night, I'm like, man, it didn't take long to reverse all the momentum from that opening week. The surprise performance against Cincinnati,
Who are 0-3, by the way. So,
and that just goes to show you the old adage: no matter how bad you have it, somebody else has got it worse than you do.
Yeah.
And so that's the case. But be that as it may, that's their ball of wax. Patriots have to worry about their ball of wax now. And, the only thing that has any interest, holding any interest for me going into Sunday is the fact that the 49ers are so banged up themselves. They're worse off than New England. They may be worse off than any other team in the NFL right now in terms of their injuries. Do we know if Kittle's going to play?
It doesn't sound like it. Him, McCaffrey, and Debo sound pretty permanently out.
Yeah, so that's a huge blow for them. It's a benefit to the Patriots, but I don't know how much that helps, Evan. That's my biggest problem here. The Patriots clearly, after getting thrashed every which way but Sunday against the Jets, they don't have enough talent. They clearly, and it was just egregiously obvious on both sides of the ball. I thought that the defense was, and we've talked about it, we thought the defense was in pretty good shape and be able to keep this team in games, and it may yet still. But I'll tell you, I really wasn't sure. Now I'm convinced. I think losing Juwan Bentley is every bit as big as losing Christian Barmore, if not more so.
Yeah, it's tough when the injuries start to stack up every year, but when you're already a pretty thin team personnel-wise, the injuries make it an even bigger deal when some of those key players start to go down. I think defensively, if you want to be optimistic, you come out of that game with some excuses. It's a short week against a hungry Jets team playing their home opener. Aaron Rodgers' first game back with the Jets at home since tearing his Achilles in the same place a year ago. It seemed to me just the vibe pregame was that there was a very, very fired up crowd and a very, very fired up Jets team against a Patriots team that was banged up on a short week, just played an overtime game the week before. And you could just tell now, we know big picture that it feels like there's a big talent gap between these two rosters, but you could also just tell from an energy standpoint, it was very abundantly clear right off the jump that the Jets were blitzing the Patriots. And I don't mean literally, I mean figuratively
as well. But I mean, the thing about it is that I think we all sort of, bought into the Kool-Aid, like, hey, it's just the Jets, they're going to jet.
Yeah.
And nobody expected it. Plus, when you won at a particular venue like the Patriots have won, it meant life, 8 straight times before this last time. Patriots had won 15 of 16 going into this game last Thursday. You haven't. It's real easy to overlook. And so when you combine that with everything else that you just talked about, they were set up for a beating. We just didn't see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more that week one win feels like a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago now, and you start to get into. And week one is they say it's never believe what you see in week one. It's always usually somewhat of an aberration for where the league is going and where teams are trending. So this is gut check time for the Patriots. I'm allowing offensively they have issues that are systemic and probably not going anywhere this season. Defensively, I am allowing for short week. You missed a bunch of tackles. You were really undisciplined in the pass rush. There were things that the Patriots did wrong defensively in that Jets game that theoretically could be fixable. And they're not going to be the 85 Bears, but maybe they do come back down to a more respectable point.
Yeah.
Now, with that all being said, the 49ers are a terrible matchup for that to happen. Like that,
Even without their weapons. That's the scary part about it.
Because this scheme has always given the Patriots problems. So
yes, exactly.
If you couldn't have picked a worse team to get right against. Not that the Patriots are really a get right team to begin with, but unfortunately, to flip the script, the Patriots are the 49ers get right game right now. Like the 49ers are hoping to get right against the Patriots and not the other way around anymore.
And that's also scary when you consider that. There's two players on the defensive side of the ball that I wanted to talk to you about, at least initially today. By the way, we welcome you into the playbook with Evan Lazar. Of course, I'm John Rook. And coming up with the show will be Andrew Callahan for the Boston Herald, so we can get you up to date on some of the things going on within both teams for the game coming up on Sunday out in California. And Russell Baxter will join us week 5. Or is it week 4? No, week 5. Yeah, week 4. Week 4 around the NFL.
Yeah.
I think I said week 5 today. I can't count.
It all starts to meld together at this point.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard for me to count today. So, at any rate, two guys I want to ask you about. Number one, Barmore. I know he's been seen in the locker room a little bit. He's still working out. So he's in and around, even though he's on IR with a designation to return.
Yeah.
Do we really expect that to happen?
No. I'm not reporting anything. This is just my instinct, my opinion.
Understood.
It seems like we're still a ways away from talking about football when it comes to Christian Barmore, and we're more still in the category of getting him healthy just as a human before we start to really worry about
we got to
football.
remember, it kept blood clots kept David Andrews out for a whole season.
Yeah.
So.
I think with him being around, they're trying to keep him engaged mentally so that he's not just sitting on his couch all day long doing nothing.
Makes sense.
I don't think that this is about we're building up towards playing football as more it is let's not have this be a totally lost season for him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Our second guy I got to ask you about is Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I know he's matched up with some pretty good receivers. I think he's held his own in terms of targets and receptions. It just doesn't seem like he has the impact that we're expecting him to have. What am I missing here with him?
Yeah, I guess I am a Gonzo apologist a little bit. The main reason being that they just have so many issues on this football team, and one of the only guys where I feel like I watch him on film and I'm like, that's a blue chip talent. Is he there yet fully where he's realized that potential? No.
Oh, we can see him.
But
we can see his move. He can swivel with the best of them.
Right.
He can run backwards with the best of them.
Right.
But teams continue to target him pretty heavily, and it's going to I fear the biggest issue here is that it's going to wear down on him and wear him down.
It's possible. I look at his performance against the Jets. There were obviously times, he falls down on a route that was an incomplete pass. Mm-hmm. It was also an illegal motion on Garrett Wilson. So that play, it counts to our eyes, but it doesn't count in the box score, right? Like we saw him get burned for a potential touchdown, but no matter which way you slice it, it wasn't going to be a touchdown, whether it was the penalty was accepted or the pass was incomplete. For the most part, though, I think he's very, very competitive in coverage. The one thing that I would say with him is that he moves like a ballerina. He moves extremely well.
He should have been on Dancing with the Stars instead of Danny Amendola.
Yeah.
Because Amendola got smoked.
He moves extremely well, but there are elements to cornerback play specifically, route anticipation, and understanding down and distance situation. How can you get yourself in a position to make a play? Mm-hmm. There's more to cornerback play at that in his where we hope he is headed in towards that number one corner, lockdown corner. There's more to it than just being able to stick with somebody in man-to-man coverage going, up and down the field. You want him to make impact plays. You want him to be turning the ball over and, getting his hands on the football and making those splash plays in coverage. And those things come with instincts and with anticipation. So I think he's got excellent cover skills, but he's not quite there yet in terms of his ability to understand, okay, he's probably going to run a slant here, so I'm going to look for the slant. Or he might, he's probably going to try to go on me here, so I'm going to, play the vertical. Like those types of mind games maybe could help him out a little bit. But like I said, I have a tough time. There's certain guys, and I get defensive about it maybe at times, because there's certain guys on this team that I just have a tough time pointing the finger at. He's one of them. Keon White's another one on the defensive side of the ball. I didn't think Keon White played his best game against the Jets either, just in terms of impact on the game. But I'm not going to come in here and be like Keon White was down this week, and now I have questions about him, because he's one of the few players that's pulling the rope in the right direction for this team right now, and I feel the same way about Gonzo.
All right, so flip it to the other side of the ball. I'm beginning to wonder, because the Patriots are dead last in passing offense in the NFL, and I know some of that's been by design because of them wanting to play it close to the vest. They want to speed games up and keep the clock short and stay in games that way. I understand the theory completely, but usually that's what a team does when they are undermanned. All right, let's just face it. Let's call it what it is, and you're undermanned. But they're effective at doing it. Now, they got away from that against the Jets, and I'm not sure why they got away from it against the Jets, but they did. Never really committed to running. And then if you don't have a run game, you have actually zero, play action, and you got to be able to throw the ball. Does this team have a prayer of throwing the ball?
Yeah, it's a good point. Coming into this game, It felt to me like Alex Van Pelt overthought it first. I mean, just to be,
I thought so too,
point blank about it. But he had said something that I thought was interesting on Friday, and I understand where he's coming from, in that he felt like they had, I think his exact words were, earned the right to throw the ball more aggressively on first down, because they had ran it so well in the first 2 weeks. So they were expecting, from a game plan standpoint, that the Jets were going to come in with 8 guys in the box and
clog the run.
Right. And
we talked about that. We talked about that last week. Yeah,
so they were gonna hit them, where they weren't expecting it, by running all these play action passes. Now, my rebuttal to that, and the way it ended up playing out in hindsight, I understand I have the advantage of hindsight, is that in order to set up play action pass, you have to establish a run game, like you said. And this whole system, this whole outside zone system, is predicated on the run game married to the pass game. So we're going to run. We're going to show you the same run looks that we are running the ball with, but now we're going to play action pass off of it. So everything's going to look the same. It's all going to look exactly the same to the defense until it's not the same. And if I was a player on the Jets, until I see you commit to the run, I'm not overplaying the run. I'm not going. You might have done that 2 weeks ago against the Bengals, but this is Thursday night in the Meadowlands. This isn't 2 weeks ago against the Bengals. Coaches, to me, think about it like, this is what we put on film. This is what's going to happen.
Right.
It's different when you actually get between the lines and start playing the game.
No doubt, which is why I think one of the culprits here that we haven't really talked about is that this young Patriots coaching staff, and I mean young, not just in age, but even in experience together, they're getting out-coached.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that on the offensive side of the ball, and this is sort of my soapbox. Like, I'm going to stand on this one. I understand that the offensive line is an easy target right now, and they have not been good in pass protection particularly. They've been terrible. Like, basically across the board, the worst pass protection in the NFL statistically. 32nd in pass block win rate, the most pressure allowed.
More than 1 out of every 2 dropbacks he got pressured against the Jets, Brissett did.
Yeah.
With 54%, something extraordinary.
Yeah, so Brissett's been pressured on 46% of his dropbacks through 3 games, which is the highest in the NFL. A pass block win rate, which is an ESPN stat that tracks this sort of thing as well, 32nd in the league.
Yep.
Dead last. Like, they are the worst pass protection in the league. But what I want to stress to people is that play calling and quarterback play have a lot of control on pressure. And play calling can help a bad offensive line, whether it's
Sure.
getting the ball out quickly, quick game, screens, perimeter screens, throws.
I would think the zone run would also help an offensive line.
Yeah.
Because that zone run, and maybe you explain a little bit of the X and O of it here, because I know you get it. But based on my limited experience, a zone run offense, it has to do with blocking assignments with the offensive line.
Yeah.
And so you can give them the same look as you suggested and
Right.
basically call the same play. But if you change the call on the blocking, that opens up different creases for the back to go through. And that's where you see some of those runs popped on plays like that because the blocking assignment is different.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, it can make you a better run team even if you're a poor pass protection team.
Yeah, the big thing with it too is that usually when you run these boots or half boots, sometimes they fully boot the quarterback, and sometimes they just kind of roll the quarterback back into the middle of the pocket off the stretch, right? So he stretches out and he kind of just half boots and rolls back into the middle. You usually have some sort of extra protection, so it's not just a 5-man pass protection. It's usually like 7. Because you have the tight ends in, you have the back in, like you have some extra reinforcements there. The Patriots' problem with it is that everything right now is these defenses are just attacking the line of scrimmage because they have no fear of the ball going over their head.
Yeah.
So they're just coming full bore. Will McDonald just coming scot-free off the end right at Jacoby Brissett.
With nobody to bump him.
Them rolling a safety down and just blitzing the safety. Whether it's a run or it's a pass, he's just going to go. These types of things are happening a lot with them. I talked to Brissett about it today. He said that they have something that they're working on to try to combat this.
Well,
we'll see.
Let me ask you the $64 million question.
Yeah.
Would Drake Maye make this different?
So here's my take on Drake Maye, because I'm a play Maye guy. I wrote it
So
Tuesday.
am I. You know that. This is one of the few things you and I actually agree on.
Yeah.
From day one, if he's the better guy, he should be playing.
Yeah. So I wrote it yesterday. I talked about it on the radio yesterday. It's something that has crawled up my backside at this point that this is happening, because the way that I see it is that stylistically you can change your team with Drake Maye. He's a different kind of quarterback. He's a more obviously more athletic, more physically talented quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. So I look at Drake Maye and I say, well, if you play Drake, then you put him in the gun. You run early down, you're running RPO, you're running quick game, you're running college-style stuff, right? Like what the Commanders are doing with Jaden Daniels, right? You run a lot
It looks pretty good.
A lot of quick game, concepts, curl flat, slant flat, whatever. That type of stuff. You run RPO, you run option. Like the quarterback's now involved in the run game because he's a factor with his legs, Drake is. So you can do that sort of thing. So now the ball is coming out quicker. It's coming out quicker and it's coming out horizontally instead of really trying to challenge vertically yet. And then on third down, yes, I don't want him to get killed behind a bad offensive line either. But on third down, he has that ability to extend plays and make plays with his legs. So even though I don't want him running for his life per se, it's also his game. Like that's also what he does.
This is what, yes.
Right.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad somebody else sees that.
Yeah.
This is what he's supposed to be doing, what the Patriots need to see on offense.
Yeah.
The problem, everybody's skittish over the offensive line. That's like a big piece of Swiss cheese out there.
Yeah. So it's granted it's preseason and it's a garbage time drive against the Jets. So I understand that there's caveats to what I'm about to say, but in terms of time to throw in the pocket, Drake Maye's time to throw and from the preseason to his 12 dropbacks the other night against the Jets is 2.39 seconds. Jacoby Brissett's time to throw is 2.8 seconds. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot.
It's a ton of time.
Yeah, and that's on average, right? So you're looking at a way of offense that you can play with Drake Maye that's just stylistically a little bit different and a little bit more quicker. With Jacoby, like they're trying to put him under center. They're trying to run 7-steppers. They're trying to run bootlegs. They're trying to move the pocket. They're trying to do all of these sort of delayed actions where these plays take a while to get going and to get moving down the field. Those behind a bad offensive line, when the quarterback himself is not overly nimble either, those give me a lot of reservations about this offense being able to pick this up. And my biggest gripe with Jacoby is he's a 9-year NFL veteran. he is supposed to be in here as the game manager that presses the right buttons, that does all the right things.
He's not doing that.
He's not doing that. He's not getting the ball out when there's open guys. He's not getting them in and out of plays where they are doomed. These plays are just doomed. And you would think that a 9-year vet would see the field and be able to kind of get them in and out of things.
That's 110% correct. I expect more out of Jacoby.
Yeah.
And I think he's a marvelous human being. I think he's an adequate quarterback. But we expect more out of a starter in the National Football League.
Yeah, there was a play in the game on Thursday night where the safety just rolls down from depth, from 8 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he's just coming down to blitz. And Jacoby's under center, and you can see it coming from a mile away. And
but
he snaps the ball.
Yeah.
And so he runs play action. It's under center play action. Gibson is the back on the fake. He tries to peel off at the last second and try to get a piece of the safety. It was actually the play where Jacoby was in the grasp and they blew the whistle dead.
Yep.
And I just look at plays like that, and maybe it's an Alex Van Pelt problem. Maybe it's not a Jacoby Brissett problem. But I look at it and I say, well, why didn't he check out of the play?
Should have recognized it,
right.
And he didn't.
If you know the safety's coming and you can see the safety's coming.
That's a play that I would expect a young, inexperienced guy to make because he didn't have the experience.
Right.
And
if you're going to sell me on this as the guy because of these reasons, because he's taking care of the ball and he's running, getting them in and out of the right plays, he's managing the game, right? That's the selling point for Jacoby Brissett. To me, he has not managed games.
Ev, how do you feel about most of the media? Not all, because I include two of us as part of the media here clearly, and we're both, you got to play Drake guys.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the majority of the media saying, "Oh, there's no way in hell you can play, Drake Maye behind that offensive line"? How do you feel about that? Are they right? What are we not seeing?
I understand where they're coming from. That historically speaking, playing a young quarterback behind a bad offensive line can lead to bad habits, and we're not talking about him necessarily getting hurt. That's obviously a factor in this too. But more importantly, what we're more talking about is sped up internal clock, seeing ghosts, those types of things, right?
Ghost watching doesn't seem to have hurt Sam Darnold, did he?
Yeah. Yes, but that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Is him getting what happened to Mac Jones, shell shock.
But what happened to Mac Jones is completely different. Mac Jones was ruined by the coaching staff.
Yeah.
They didn't feed him what they should have fed him at the time he needed it. He was past, the baby food pablum stage.
Right.
And they regressed from there. And that's why Mac Jones is no longer a Patriot. You can't tell me he didn't have enough ability. He had more than enough ability to do the job as it was presently situated for him with the receivers and everybody else that he had. Mac Jones, can throw the ball. He got hammered by the coaching staff. That's, in my opinion, I don't think that'll ever change.
Yeah, I just, my rebuttal to it's all about Drake and his development and keeping him safe and keeping him away from this offensive line. My biggest rebuttal to that is, one, maybe I'm just biased because I was high on him in the draft. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he was the pick. It's almost selling his talent short because he's going to elevate this offense when he gets in there. I'm telling you that. His physical tools are going to elevate the supporting cast. Is it going to be a top 5 offense in the NFL? No. But I understand everybody thinks that the Commanders now have the 07 Patriots out there around Jaden Daniels. I get it.
Yeah.
But
they don't.
The Commanders have an offensive line that had as many question marks as the Patriots coming into the season.
And they're not really all that much more highly rated than New England's now anyway.
No, and Terry McLaurin. That's what the Commanders have. Name another receiver on the Commanders.
I can't.
Exactly. Noah Brown, Tiami Brown. They drafted Luke McCaffrey in the 3rd round, just like the Patriots drafted their receivers. Those are their receivers.
But Jaden Daniels clearly has more of an ability to work with the football besides just his arm. And we know Drake has some elusiveness. We know he knows he can recognize stepping up into the pocket when he has to. I mean, Jaden Daniels is the guy that I preferred, all things being equal. Taking nothing away from Drake. But I knew that wasn't going to happen with the 3rd pick.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to get Drake at number 3.
Yeah.
I understand all that. But when I saw what Jaden Daniels started to do this past week, I'm kind of like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
There should be that kind of, bump you know, from playing Drake. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Yeah, and I'll just leave you with this. The last thing I'll say about it. The other thing I feel really strongly about is that as much as it is all about Drake, it's not just about Drake. And if this Patriots offense is going to start building something here in New England for the future, then guys like Jalen Polk, Caden Wallace, Javon Baker, Pop Douglas,
all of them.
Layden Robinson.
They need to start playing with Drake.
They need to start playing some good football. And they need to start building something here.
Right.
And right now it feels to me like we're on a path to nowhere again.
Exactly.
We're on a march to nowhere.
We're marking time. We're treading water.
Right.
We're trying to avoid drowning. Is all I feel like this team is doing.
Yeah, like this type of the way they have been offensively is no help to any of those young guys around the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't help Caden Wallace that they're under siege all the time in pass protection, and he's out there for the first time
No question.
at left tackle in his first NFL career start, and the Jets are blitzing 5 guys after him, and he has no idea what to do. Like, that doesn't help anybody.
All right, I got a last one here for you. By the way, just got an email from Ricky who says, first time emailing. I watch every episode on YouTube. Love it. Thank you, Ricky. I just want to see Maye play already. Patriots need to stop being scared.
Yeah, I understand. I don't know if it's scared. There's just a lot of factors. Like, he's going to be inconsistent because he's a young quarterback, and they're not fully ready for him, as we know, with the state of things right now. So it's not quite that they're scared, I don't think. But like I keep saying, I understand everybody wants to come at me and tell me that Washington is this totally different scenario because, the guy that they have calling plays, Cliff Kingsbury, I floated his name in January as a potential offensive coordinator for these Patriots, and people came at me and said, Cliff Kingsbury, that guy's a bum. Now all of a sudden he's calling plays for Jaden Daniels and he's Bill Walsh, right? Like they are not that different from you. They have a new coordinator. They have a rookie quarterback. They have an offensive line with question marks, and they have Scary Terry. And you're telling, like, all of a sudden Scary Terry's Jerry Rice, right? Like, he's a really good player.
Good way to put it.
He's a really good player.
I know.
But they're not all that different from you.
All right.
That's it.
Enjoy your trip out west, brother.
Thank you, sir.
All
I'm
right.
going to try.
Be safe.
I will.
Above all, right? All right. Evan Lazar at EZ Lazar, of course, on X. That's where you can find him. He's getting ready to hop on the team playing Friday, right? You're going to leave Friday? Yeah, Friday, to head out a little bit early. 855-PATS-500 is the toll-free telephone number. Web radio at patriots.com is the email. At JR Broadcaster on X is where you can follow. Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots, Toyota. Let's go places. And it's easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. Covering the New England Patriots as well for the Boston Herald, Andrew Callahan, who now joined us here in the Playbook. Hey, Andrew, how's it going today, man?
Going well. Afternoon, John.
Excellent. Excellent. Good to hear it. So you probably caught a little bit of that last conversation I had with Evan, and I think I got a pretty good idea where you stand on the whole, should they play him, should they not play him. Where are you right now with Drake Maye's development?
Yeah, I want to see him sit, John, at least for a couple more weeks, and this is not because I've been in practice and can tell you exactly how he's doing. I rely, like most people do, a lot on the words of Drake Maye teammates, and all those reports seem positive. What's not positive, though, is the situation you would be thrusting him into, which right now is the worst pass-protecting offensive line in the league. And I get that folks are frustrated. I get we all want to see more points. I'm excited to see Drake Maye, a guy I was a firm believer in before he got to New England. But what I don't want is him to be put into a situation that right now is allowing quarterback hits 10 times a game and pressure on half of the dropbacks. So I just need to see something better than that. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's never really probably even going to be good.
Sure.
It should be better than that.
Sure. Well, let me ask you this then. With Drake being in the game, you know that the Patriots have got to run basically a different kind of offense or call different plays than what they were running with Jacoby Brissett. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think so. Just because I saw him work under center, this summer, and even in the preseason games, his footwork looked better. We all know he's gone a ton in college, but this is a guy who has shown development very quickly. So he's a quick learner. He's tough. I think you can run the offense as you want to see fit, honestly, through either guy.
Okay. It just seems to me, though, that you can style an offense and you can limit the pressure on the quarterback if you're, doing things like throwing to the backs or, hitting middle receivers or, hitting the little slants, playing the dink and dunk game, which I guess the Patriots were known for, as we know, over decades, really under Tom Brady. If you get back to that kind of mindset, then you've got the defense in a holding pattern. They don't really know which way to attack. The Jets last Thursday night knew exactly what was coming, which is why I mentioned earlier with Evan, the coaching staff is getting coached circles around it right now. They've got to do something that the other guys aren't expecting.
Yeah, that I'm completely on board with. And I've been calling for a lot of touches for Pop Douglas, who features heavily in that quick passing game you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Over the middle, slant, screens, bubbles, all those things. And I think, there are a couple tough parts here. And, the Patriots tried to run the Alex Van Pelt offense as we last saw it in Cleveland, really weeks 1 and 2. A downfield-focused passing game, routes that take long to develop, and by the time that they do develop, the offensive line can't block it. So that led to a lot of pressures and sacks that Jacoby Brissett actually avoided. Only 14% of the pressure he faced resulted in sacks. That's an excellent number, no matter the offense, no matter the league. In Week 3, they adjusted a little bit, but so did the Jets. They blitzed more than they had ever blitzed under Robert Saleh, knowing, okay, the Patriots are probably going to adjust. We need to get there faster than they're unloading the ball. It worked. A lot of unblocked pressure. And that brought down the offense faster than they could recover.
All right. So let's do this then. We kind of know, where we stand on the whole Drake Maye thing. We're still in a holding pattern on this. Outside of the issue on the offensive front for New England, what's the biggest issue right now that you see other than, finding a tackle that can block somebody?
Yeah, I think it's getting explosive plays, John. We talk about things that drive winning. Everyone goes, turnover margin. That's true. That's the number one stat, most strongly correlated with winning anywhere in football, any level. Who has the ball, who's keeping it best. Second after that is who's getting the most explosive plays. And the Patriots just can't do that right now. I think it's because of an ill-conceived plan weeks 1 and 2, like we just talked about, these downfield routes they can't protect. So how else do you get them? Well, for the Patriots, that means running, I think, more quick game 2 screens like Pop Douglas, or it means designing runs that will get Ramondre Stevenson or Antonio Gibson in space. I mean, Gibson has the longest play of the season.
Yep.
It was 45 yards, a version of outside zone we've all seen, we've all watched, called pin and pull. And that unlocked something new against the Seahawks, who had really been bottling up their run game. So there are avenues here. And another thing I'd like to see in the vein of this explosive play is a lot more intermediate throws. Jacoby Brissett doesn't have a single deep completion this year, but he is 6 of 10 on passes between 10 and 19 yards downfield. He's good in that area. Attack more there.
Okay, that's fair, and I think that's actually a good number that probably a lot of fans aren't aware of. All right, so Andrew Callahan, Boston Herald, joining us. This is just the 5th time since 2000 that the Patriots are double-digit underdogs in any game, and they are 10.5-point favorites, dogs right now at San Francisco. So this is the first time I believe I read today since last season when they were 15.5-point underdogs in Buffalo. Even though they covered that spread, the Bills still ended up winning the game. How do the Patriots have a shot here against this 49ers team that clearly is a walking wounded unit themselves?
Yeah, it's a good question, John. It's funny, and I dug up that stat on Monday that you just cited. The Patriots are actually 2-2 of those games. Now, they have to thank Tom Brady for 2 wins in 2001, and then they lose to Kansas City in 2020, and then, of course, they lose to Buffalo, as you just mentioned.
Yep.
And I think what you have to do is obviously get an early lead. So you need a lot of tendency breakers here, in my mind, John, where their play-action game has really been short-circuited because Seattle seemed to know when it was coming. The Jets didn't even let them get to it with all of the blitzing. So what I would say is call new plays that you haven't shown yet. Do something that allows you to get to what you eventually want to do, running the ball, but with a really good first drive or two. And that's easier said than done, especially on the phone doing radio, than it is drawing it up and executing and playing on Sunday. But that's going to be key. The other part is you need the tendency break on defense, because I've been writing about this the last couple of weeks. Geno Smith and Aaron Rodgers shredded the blitz. Seattle averaged over 13 yards per play whenever the Patriots blitzed. The Jets had a success rate of almost 80% when they tried to blitz Rodgers. So the disguises they're using right now are not working. Twist those around. They self-scouted this week. Do not a Costanza opposite approach of what you've been doing. But I would say, honestly, John, something close.
It would be nice if they could have it exactly, but you're right, something close at the very least. I think the other thing that I would look at least from the Patriots, is defensively, while I think they've been a little bit of a disappointment, especially the way they got manhandled by the Jets, I'd like to see the Patriots get a little bit more aggressive defensively. It seemed to me early, against Cincinnati especially, that they wanted to, put extra pressure on the quarterback, maybe even throw a blitz or two in there, and then they seem to have backed off on that. I'm wondering if that might not be something that they could do that would be a little bit of a change up here.
Yeah, and it's funny because this new world of the defenses are starting to get a clamp down, right? Scoring's down, passing's down. A lot of the edge that they've created is you don't know who's going to rush and from where. And teams can do this because they're playing with a lot of other defensive backs. But to me, the Patriots' timing with these either simulated pressures, which are only four-man rushes where you bring a linebacker or safety or corner in place of a defensive lineman, the timing hasn't been perfect. And teams seem to know either the quarterback or the offensive
when they're going,
when these are coming.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm the Patriots, I might bring the pressure you're talking about more on first down because we know this is a run-heavy 49ers team that's going to be pissed off, coming back home. They're 1-2. They're going to want to run the ball down your throats the same way the Patriots want to run the ball down their throats.
Yeah.
So bring more pressure, put them in second and long. Then I think you can simulate pressure, actually bring it or do whatever you want. But you have to get to those second, third and longs first.
Even more of a reason to change things up because San Francisco is going to come in, as you suggested, they're going to be pissed off at what they, losing that game to the Rams, which they had no business losing last week, and they're going to look at the Patriots as a way to kind of set things right again, even though they've got all these, this myriad list of injuries going on. I mean, it's an impressive list. It ought to tell you how talented, top to bottom on this roster, this San Francisco team is. There's a reason they, were thought of as a true Super Bowl contender because they got so much talent. Now that they're missing it, this is your chance to seize the day. This is your chance to carpe diem. And you're right. I think the only thing you can do is throw them something that they just don't expect.
Yeah, and I think it's hard, John, to have faith in a team like the Patriots that's got a new coaching staff that, in my mind, has been out-coached the last 2 weeks. But I think just like the players getting healthy after a Thursday night game with that extra time to self-scout and delve into an opponent you don't know that well and then have an extra practice as they did Monday will be really helpful for this coaching staff. So whether it's having those change-ups, reinforcing the fundamentals like we saw this week, you always want to catch a good team like we know the Niners are early in the season, and ideally with extra time. Patriots have that extra time. They've got the Niners early in the season. So as much as everyone's counting them out, and I wouldn't bet them to win. I mean, I don't bet, period, on NFL football. This honestly might be an ideal spot for them to catch the Niners off guard, given the injuries you mentioned and the calendar and the extra time they've had this week.
I'm with you on that one. In fact, I liken it a lot to, catching Cincinnati off guard. I don't think Cincinnati knew what hit them. And look, now the Bengals are in a spiral right now at 0-3 to start the year when everybody thought they would be a contender in the AFC before it got started. So it can be done, but I think the Patriots, as we've said many times, you've said it, we've said it here, you got to throw them something they don't know. You can't be predictable. And B, your margin of error is so thin, you can't make the mistake. So to me, number one key for, being able to hang in there, stay in this game in the fourth quarter, and maybe stealing one, which would shock the NFL, is to play as perfect as you can. Limit the turnovers, or no turnovers, I would tell you, and limit the penalties. They can't have offensive linemen jumping because they didn't know the snap count.
And that's not only, a fundamental act. Like, you have to do that to be good teams like you're talking about. It's something that the Patriots have done already, right? Like, their first turnover was the fumble they lost at the Jets. Jacoby Brissett's not thrown a single interception. And they came close once an end zone throw in Cincinnati, and Drake Maye came close on his first throw as an NFL quarterback in a regular season game. But Jacoby Brissett protects the ball. He's tied with Aaron Rodgers for the lowest career interception rate in NFL history.
Yeah.
Like, we can all bury the guy, and he's never going to be above the 15th best quarterback, maybe even 20th. But he does protect the ball with the best of them. If that's the starting point in San Francisco for an upset, he's your guy.
All right, so very quickly then on the 49ers, it looks like Javon Hargrove's going to be out for the year. So that's the latest big one that they had. I guess IR is on his docket. And they're already reeling from losing a game that they once had a 2-touchdown lead in against the Rams this last week. Who in San Francisco, who in that lineup right now should be a concern for the Patriots to, either slow down or go against when they have the ball on offense?
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of guys who could pick from. I mean, offensively, Brandon Ayuk's had a slow start for them, and Juwan Jennings has got 3 touchdowns and carrying the load. And we don't know about George Kittle yet.
Yep.
But when the 49ers are on defense, it's Nick Bosa, right? I mean, this guy has to be licking his chops the second he left Los Angeles and sees Caden Wallace, who's a third-round rookie, and even the guys who get taken in the top 10 of offensive tackles, they struggle as rookies. Oh, and Caden Wallace got dinged up last time, and he's a career right tackle in college. So if he's going to start at left tackle again, we might get Vidarian Lowe. Vidarian Lowe's led 4 pressures in all the games that he's played in so far this season. Nick Bosa is a problem. That's one of the best edge rushers in the league. Even if he still had Matt Light or Nate Solder or Prime Trent Brown around here, he would be a problem. But he's especially a problem this week.
Primetime Brown, I love that. And that's the number one concern for me. When I look at that line and I still see Nick Bosa, he hadn't hurt yet. Damn, that was my initial impression. And I can't. I mean, they're going to put him wherever they can, utilize him best. That is the major concern for me. They got to figure out a way to slow him down or chip him or do something, because I think Nick Bosa could have one of those 4 or 5 sack kind of days that will be talked about all season long if the Patriots aren't very, very careful here, which means you're going to have to make quick decisions. You have to get rid of the ball quickly, utilize the run game, whatever they can do to neutralize him. That's kind of where they have to go.
Yeah, and I would say run at him, right? Like what is it?
Absolutely, run right at him. Totally.
Run at him. And Caden Wallace is a big dude. Like he's not going to win a lot of these matchups with Nick Bosa. You just need to win enough. And if you can wear on Nick Bosa early, maybe they go hurry up, which we have not seen a whole lot from the Patriots. That will tire out a pass rush. More of the moving bootlegs and play action, which they've had issues with so far, but I think some of that is fixable. Like it's just like a good quarterback, right? You have to throw a ton of different looks at them to keep them off balance, and then you only have a prayer. I think that's the case here with Nick Bosa. You have to chip, you have to double, you have to run at him, you have to boot away from him. Make him feel uncomfortable or at least a little hesitant. That might buy Jacoby Brissett just enough time to get the ball out before he gets there, and he'll get a couple of hits. Like this is not trying to pitch a shutout. Just make him uncomfortable.
Right. I mean, I'd love to do the controlled hurry up, where they take the entire play clock to get the play, because then San Francisco can't. It's hard to. You can't really substitute effectively there because you don't know when the ball is going to get snapped. That kind of a thought right there, I think, is the best way to neutralize that hard charging defense. Now, whether or not they pull it off, I don't know. And if it takes guys like you and I to figure this stuff out, and the Patriot coaching staff can't figure that out, then we got bigger problems than just trying to block Nick Bosa.
I don't know, John. It sounds like we're due for a raise. If that's the case, I think we're wearing a headset on Sunday and we're making a lot more money. That sounds good to me. How about you?
I'm all in. Hey, thanks for the time, Andrew. Safe travels, buddy.
Got it. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Andrew Callahan. He's at Andrew Callahan on X. So that's where you can find his stuff and read his stuff on the in the Boston Herald and bostonherald.com. 855-PATS 500. I'm going to start it off with Eldred in North Carolina. Yo, Eldred. What's up, man?
Well, Mr. Legend, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. Where are we traveling today, brother?
I'm coming out of Winston-Salem, going back to Charlotte. We'll call it a day after this.
Nice.
After this run.
What are we hauling today?
I started at, let me see. Oh, yeah, I got something for Medline, medicine.
Oh.
Medline is medicine distribution center.
Okay. All right. Well, be safe with that.
It's going to California.
It's going on to California?
Going to California, yes, sir. Why all containers?
So you're not volunteering for that trip?
I wish I could drive there. I would love to. I did it, but I'm not over the road anymore. I'm local.
I got you.
They put it on the train, and it gets there a little bit quicker.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, that makes sense to me then.
Taking it there.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's on your mind today, bro?
What's on my mind today?
Yeah.
Is everybody want to put the kid in?
I know how you feel. I know how you feel about him. We've talked about this, so I know how you feel about Drake. But you got to admit, it seems like we're spinning our wheels here. Okay, so you got to do something to change this up. Otherwise, you're heading for 4-13, or maybe even worse this year. And I don't think anybody wants to see that. I don't think anybody has the stomach for that. And I think it's time to see what the kid can do.
Well, I do too, but not now. But maybe, I'm like this. Like I told you in the beginning, if I picked him 3rd overall, he started day 1. Even though I didn't like the pick, I'm starting him day 1 so he get his lumps out and hope he don't get hurt. But that line is atrocious. And then I keep listening to people on the internet saying, Brissett should have changed protection. Jets came in with a game plan from day one. Like I said, they out rostered us anyway with talent, but they knew, we're gonna run. They're gonna run blitz all day long. They get you in the pass, they got you in the pass, and that was their game plan. And even if some of it is on Brissett, but most of it is on them linemen because I got so mad at my boy Winu. Okay, why you coach in Little League? You take the guy on the inside, get the one on the outside. Inside, get there first. You take the guy on the inside, and he just doubled, went to the out, and the guy came through. A bunch of them, and a bunch of them linemen, they just missed their call. And even the running back, they just missed and tried to whoop at the last minute.
Yeah.
So Brissett, I hold a little bit with, but that line coach and the players, I hold a lot with, especially the players. And I can understand is they want to do it the Packers way, but Packers way never drafted no slow wide receivers I ever seen. And we got slow wide receivers.
Yeah.
I would have got A.D. Mitchell out from the bat. But we needed a quarterback, so we could get Harrison. But Harrison, like I told you, would be my first pick. Martin Harrison would be my first pick. And then go from there. But I'm like this. If Wade Brissett keep getting licks like that, you're going to see him sooner than later, because I just wonder how many times he's going to keep getting up off the carpet, because they are tattooing, maybe we should say back in the day. They put that wood to them, so it's just a matter of that,
They're putting that wood to him. I like it.
I said just a couple of years ago on your show, and you said they was listening to me laughing. Mr. Kraft, fall to you. Let me draft for you one time. You don't have to pay me. I do better than your GM, Brown GM, and the one you had 5 years before. I bet you I do a better.
So you're willing to offer your services for free, right?
For free.
Okay.
And then you hire me next year, and now you still will give me for free.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing my boys looking like this. Yeah, I mean, like I said, right now, I'm the buddy in the joke.
I know. Well, but you know what? Hey, we all know payback is a 5-letter word for dog, so that's the way it works, right?
It sure is.
Yeah, I understand that, and so we'll just let people have their fun while they can. I don't know what else to say. It dawned on me, Eldred, that we're really learning now what it was like to watch the Patriots from outside our little dome. When you watch Kansas City now, because everybody's hating on the Chiefs. Oh my God, the Chiefs again. Oh my God, we got to watch Kansas City again. Oh my God, the Chiefs are getting all the calls from the officials, and I'm like, whoa, weren't they saying the same thing about us about 10 or 15 years ago? Right?
It sure was.
They were. So it's good to see that on somebody else's dime. Do I think officials throw games? No. Do I think officials know sometimes who the best players are and know who the fans want to see? Yes, I do.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I do. I believe that, but that doesn't keep them from, the NFL from spanking Tom Brady and putting him on suspension and all these other things. I'm still waiting for the NFL to jump in on the Kansas City Chiefs at some point, because right now they're everybody's darlings, and they're on national, they're on nighttime TV like 10 times this year or whatever it is, 8 to 10 times, something like that. And it seems like every time I turn on a channel somewhere, there's the damn Chiefs again. And look,
exactly.
They've earned it. They've earned it. But I'm just saying,
they're doing the right.
Yeah, they've earned the right. They've earned the right.
Like I said, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
You do.
Anybody beat the man.
You do.
But one thing I can't understand about Mr. Okay, we got 3 more weeks for the trade deadline. The trade deadline is off. Right?
Yes. Off the top of my head, yes.
Okay. About 3 more weeks. Every team got a price for every player on that roster. Everybody got a price.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand. I know you might not get the top tackle, but like I was saying before, 2 tackles in Minnesota. Darisaw, you ain't gonna get him. You should get him, but they drafted his heir apparent. He's 23 out of Oklahoma.
Let me ask you something.
Let
me ask you something philosophically. Then, do you really think you make a trade in midseason, knowing how much chemistry it really requires to become an effective offensive line? Do you make a trade in midseason, or do you just stick with what you have and then go after one of those 2 kids, either Williams or Banks, out of the draft next year?
I'm trading because I want to win a little bit, and I want the guy is young, just like May, so he might struggle a little bit, But Darisaw, he's 25, and the other guy's 23. But you ain't gonna get Darisaw unless you come up with 2 or 3 first round. But you ain't gonna do that. So you probably get that guy they got, like he's 6'6", 308 pounds, and move, and I think he got 33-inch arms, and he's strong.
What do you have to give up for him?
Well, they got him in the third. I'd give a second and a third for him.
Okay.
Because right now you ain't got nobody on that left side.
Yeah, I know.
You ain't got nothing.
I know.
And then I'll put when you back at guard and put Kate Wallace at right tackle, and then I'm going with it from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Okay. All right. It's not a bad strategy. I just don't know if this year it's going to really matter much, just because it's going to take a while for that unit to gel anyway.
Well,
and I think they'll be making wholesale changes in that line next year anyway.
Going to be a lot of wholesale changes. But then again, I don't know, because you know what? I keep wondering. He was there when Bill was drafting, right?
Yeah.
Ron Wolf?
Yeah.
So
well, he was for the last couple of drafts, yes. Yeah.
Okay, last couple of drafts. Either you were drafting like Bill from Bug in Bill's ear, or you were doing it because you're drafting the same darn way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're getting the same type of people. And to me, I don't know who put the blame on, but should have been a step above, step better.
Okay.
Or at least try to get another free agent.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
All right. Eldred,
All right,
you the man.
Talk to you, Mr. Legend.
Be safe.
All right, sir.
Be
Bye-bye.
safe out there. Big Eldred in North Carolina. Love it. Christian in L.A. Hey, Christian, you're in the playbook.
Hey, Rookie, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How's it going? Thanks for hanging in.
It's going okay. The year is going as it's sort of like a bunch of us probably expected. We're not the most talented team. We would have to punch above our weight if we wanted to win a few games here and there, and we would most likely finish at the bottom quarter of the league. With that said, as a diehard Patriots fan, I'm not going to get into the same dialogue that everyone else is getting into with who we get this year. What I wanted to talk with you, Rookie, was about maybe a little bit of theory. And here's a theory.
Shoot.
Most teams, like our teams, will probably get about 7 picks in the draft. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, if you keep all your picks without trading them away, then you probably end up with about. You probably end up with about that. Sure.
Right. And so, on average, out of those 7, 4 of those guys probably aren't going to make the team or even play. Correct?
3 to 4. Sure, I'd go with that. Yeah.
3 to 4. So what it sounds like to me is that rounds 1, 2, and 3 produce anybody that's really going to make what is a predictable, to some degree, impact on your team. Does that sound correct?
Okay, I'm following.
So what I'm saying is maybe it's a new era in the league where, because premium talent is at such a, lack of a better word, premium, instead of getting 5, 6 guys that probably aren't going to make the team, we know we're getting a high first round, and we know we're probably getting a high second round. Why don't we start packaging the rest of those guys to get back up into the second round or back high into the third, and just forget about rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 with middling players that aren't going to make it? Why don't we just go for impact players, use the draft caps we have for 2 or 3 impact players, and that's it, and we're good with the draft?
Well, in theory, I think in theory, I like your thought. I'm kind of with you on that. But the problem is that the Patriots actually have had more of their success, Christian, in those latter rounds than they have in the earlier rounds lately. So if the players that are sticking are the ones that are usually somewhere in 3, 4, or 5. That's why they've got success there. So I think they're a little reluctant to part with that. And of course, you got to have 2 teams. You got to have a dance partner before you can pull off a deal like that. So that's the biggest issue, actually.
Rookie, hasn't Houston and Philadelphia recently pulled it off? What's the difference between their GM and our GM?
Great question. Other than being older, I don't really know.
So it's there to have, and the empirical data would say that look at Houston and look at Philly, who jettisoned the rest of their picks, got 2 high picks, and put game-changing guys on the board, on the field for them.
I absolutely think I don't mind your theory at all. I think it's spot on. I actually would love to see them do that. I'm sure a lot of fans would love to see them do that. I'm just I'm playing devil's advocate here with you because of what I've seen the Patriots do in the past and what I know they tend to like to do. And I'm not sure that the philosophy of straying away from, finding lower round or even free agent guys to stick around really has changed all that much. That was something that actually Bill Belichick did excel at, was finding, the diamonds in the rough. And I feel like this staff and this scouting staff still feels like they can do that, which is partly why, not all the reason why, but partly why they would be reluctant to make the deal that you talk about. On top of that, again, you got to find a willing trade partner on that one. And so, if you identify, as Eldred was talking about a minute ago, you got to find a team that has, an offensive tackle that would actually be a definitive upgrade to what you already have if you're completely healthy. Otherwise, to me, you're spinning your wheels on that. And you'd have to find an upgrade on, receiving and whatever else. And frankly, I think that might be something that, they could hopefully attack again in free agency, even though they swung on the mist on Brandon Ayuk. You have to find a way to start the process of making this a destination place. And so to your end, that's why I'll agree with it. Sometimes you got to sacrifice in order for the greater good. And right now you need some panache.
Absolutely.
You need some flash.
Absolutely.
You need a place that guys want to go to. Oh, I want to play with that dude. They don't have that right now, and I think that's part of the deal. And by the way, I might add here, Christian, that if you put Drake Maye out there, and he has any kind of success at all, you might have that as well.
Absolutely. And before I drift over to Drake Maye, I just wanted to say this. Listen, two impact, jettison all the picks, we get 2 impact players, and then we get 1 impact player in free agency. It is possible. It's a new era. We have a new front office, new GM, new coach. Let's jettison the old way.
Yeah.
Jump into the new. So that's that. On Drake Maye. Here's what I'm afraid of. It works with Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels has guys that can get open within the first 2 seconds.
Sure.
Our fastest receiver is 4.5. The slowest D-back is probably 4.4.5. You're not going to get the quick. You're not going to get the quick guy open. So that quick game is going to cause Drake to have to pause. And that pause with the line that we're
causing the issues. Yeah, I see where you're going, but that problem can be solved by schematics. You got to have an offensive coordinator that can draw that up, and that's where I think we're finding some issues right now. This is more right now, I think, an Alex Van Pelt problem even than a Jacoby Brissett problem.
Right. And to play devil's advocate with myself, rookie, there's a guy named Cooper Kupp who runs a 4.5, right?
Sure, yeah.
There was a guy named Julian Edelman who ran a 4.5. A guy named Puka Nacua who runs about a 4. A guy named A.J. Brown. So you do have receivers that can do it with that speed and scheme. We don't. I've seen the talent that we have. We don't have even the guys that we have that run the 4.5. It's not the kind of 4.5 that's like quickness and get open, right?
Yeah.
He's a straight line. Javon Baker's not getting behind anybody.
Yep.
Sorry, he's just not.
Right.
And and our guy Polk, he's tough. Yes, he is really tough. But guess what? Tough receivers, 1, they don't last, and 2, how many catches are you going to get in a game that's going to change the game with a tough guy catching a 7-yard end?
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. I buy it. Very passionate stuff, Christian. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me get Nelson in L.A. here really quick. Hey, Nelson, what are we working on today?
A ditch again.
All right.
I'm backing it right now.
Okay. Good. Good.
What a disappointment last week, man. I was mad.
I know, brother. I know.
I'm going to break my TV.
Don't do that. It costs too damn much money to get the good one again.
Yeah, for real. My prediction this week, I think I'm gonna go another time with a W for us, with a 17-14.
17-14. So you like them to keep it low, and you want them to. You think they're going to get the upset?
Yeah, I think they're going to fix their mistakes. They didn't play on Thursday right. I don't know what they had.
Well, I hope you're right. I think San Francisco is going to be madder than a hornet's nest as well, just because they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have lost that game to the Rams.
Yep, they got a lot of players that are not playing for them too. There,
Right. Totally.
So, you have a nice day. I'm over here in Los Angeles.
Thanks, buddy. All right, be safe out on the job now.
Yep, you too, sir.
Yeah, Nelson's always working, right? Digging trenches, drilling for oil, doing something out there. You got to love it. Guy's a hard hat.
Calling us instead of actual construction.
I know. Isn't that the American way anyway? I think kind of so.
real woman could
I
stop
like
you
teasing
from
Nelson.
drinking.
It has to be a real big woman.
It's time to go around the NFL with football guru Russell Baxter
Now on, your name is Flounder.
on Patriots Playbook.
Flounder?
By the way, I should tell you that, after 20, how many years have we done this show now? 23 years. This is year 24, right? That we've done this show, right? We have changed our email address, and I didn't know it.
It just happened.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, that's fine. So I noticed that, there's a different address here on the computer, but I'm like, should I say something? And then, the missive has come in. So if you're going to email the show, all right, we want you to send it to a little bit of a different address from this point forward. I'm sure that the accounts will kind of mirror and draw each other and all that kind of stuff, but it's podcasts@patriots.com, okay?
We're going to have 1 million more listeners now.
Yeah. Well, I hope. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Podcasts@patriots.com. And, with that, we're going to bring in the one and only, Russell Baxter. Podcasts@patriots.com, Russell. Please make sure you make note of that for your own, address book.
I'm just glad you got that last call entirely in, because I always prefer a full Nelson over a half Nelson.
A half Nelson. I know. It's broken. Oh, my, yeah.
Wrong drop. They're right next to each other.
I like how he managed to get the 17-14 score in while Watermain was breaking. So.
Yeah, but you got to admire his dedication, right?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to pop on Monty Python and just say, "Oh, it's only a flesh wound."
Do we have that drop?
I don't have that drop.
That's a good one. We'll have
I'll be in my teeth next week. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we'll have to find that one. We'll have to get that one. Oh my goodness, too good. All right, my man. So you kind of know what the Patriots are facing here. That was not pretty on the Thursday night game a week ago. So you got a team though that's still 1-2, and I think there's a lot of expectation for this New England team to sort of head southward now, because you're facing a 49er team that we thought would be a contender, but they may be as banged up as anybody in the league right now.
Yeah, they might have taken them. Well, let me ask you this: listen, get Nelson back on the phone, okay? And here's the reason I'm asking.
Yep.
What's with the West Coast teams and the injuries?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. What are they doing?
Rams?
Yeah. What are they doing out there?
The Chargers, the Niners. What are they, all on the beach or something?
That's a great question. Great question.
Somebody slip on their copper tone? No. I mean, and big names, obviously. Even Brock Purdy's got a sore back.
Right.
The Chargers, Herbert is questionable. Joe Alt, their fine rookie left tackle, banged up. We already talked about Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and I think the Rams get some people back this week and so on. So, at the NFC West, certainly taking its lumps. Seattle's 3-0. The rest of the teams are combined 3 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they even haven't gotten to the divisional schedule yet. So, a lot of banged up. But I like what you said about a hornet's nest. And if the Niners respond like you would expect them to, you would think they would win the game. But it's funny. You'll remember last year, the Niners won their first 5 games.
Yeah.
And then they went into a 3-game skid.
Yeah.
Okay? So they lost to the Browns at Cleveland, Minnesota on Monday night, and then came home and lost to the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, and listen, it's a longer season now, and you can recover from some of these things. But I also like what you said about New England. The win over Cincinnati, the even though disappointing ending, played well against Seattle, but I don't think anybody forgets 24-3. How about 400 to 139?
Yeah, that was a beatdown. That was embarrassing. There's no way that a team should be outmanned like that, and there's no way a team in the modern day NFL, I don't care how good the defensive are, there's no way their team should be held to 139 total yards.
Yeah, and we've seen quite a few of that this year. We really have teams being held under 300, under 200 yards on a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember right, the Bears actually won a game doing that.
Yep.
When they beat Tennessee. Now, when you block a punt for a touchdown, you get a pick 6. That certainly helps. And And we know scoring's a little down at this stage, but, I don't know if that'll continue. If Monday night was any indication, we saw 3 teams scored 33 points or more on Monday night. The 4 teams have played.
Yeah.
So, we're just getting warmed up. And, last week we talked about all the interconference games. And this week we finally get a little meat on the bone. Like, there's 5 divisional games after there were only 7 divisional games the first 3 weeks of the season combined.
Right,
so,
right.
And important. And obviously the divisional games are all important. It starts Thursday night with the Cowboys and the Giants. I think the Cowboys are very happy not to be home.
Yeah, right.
How's this, John?
I would think the Patriots are also happy not to be home. They've lost 8 of 9 here.
Sometimes it works in your favor. Okay, when there's a lot of expectation or a lot of question marks, and a lot of it, as you know, comes from fans and a lot of it local media who's doing something every day on the team. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it helps to be away from that. Maybe it helped New England to hear how they were going to go, bottom up this year and go into Cincinnati and win that game. And conversely, Cincinnati, who a lot of people expected to rebound, they have lost. They're 0-3. And the Kansas City game in the middle. Mm-hmm. But think about this: they lost to 2 teams that last year finished 4-13 each, and they were both now Cincinnati was a last place team last year, but they were 9-8.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you maybe there is that mindset early in the year. I think to a degree, all the noise about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in Pittsburgh, I think it helped the Steelers to a degree that they opened the season at Atlanta and then at Denver and didn't have to deal with all that. Who's in, who's out, who's going to this and who's going to that, and so on.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of, I tell you, there's so much mental that goes into this game. And, it's also a younger league now, and I think a lot of these younger players, they hear the noise. We know this. They not only hear the noise, they respond to the noise. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot different now. And again, here we come week 4 already, week 4. The off week start in week 5.
Yep.
And it's a fascinating schedule this week because there are, like I said, numerous interdivisional games, only 2 interconference games, although one is fascinating to me, and other than New England, San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So let me get this straight. Bryce Young was the first pick in the 2023 draft. He got benched after 2 games in his second year. They put in Andy Dalton, who went and rolled 11 at Las Vegas last week.
Right.
And Andy Dalton and the Panthers at home, and here come the Cincinnati Bengals, his old employer.
Mm-hmm. Right. Made him look pretty good, didn't it? I had somebody ask me this week and said, hey, maybe the Patriots should have gotten a guy like Andy Dalton. I'm like, look, I don't even think that the way that this offensive line is playing right now that Tom Brady would still be upright.
Right. Well, easier said than getting Andy Dalton. They would have to trade for Andy Dalton. He's with Carolina. He wasn't a free agent, to my knowledge. He was with the team last year.
Yeah.
So, unless I'm goofing that up, and I don't think I am.
Yep.
So I don't think anybody's trading for Andy Dalton at this stage of his career. But, boy, he looked awfully comfortable last week. And now Antonio Pierce is, if you heard what he had to say that after the game last week, he thought some of his players were making business decisions. Mm-hmm. And, guess what? He's in charge of the business of the Raiders, and rumblings about Aiden O'Connell. And, that's, again, there is a team last year that finished with a flurry. Physical football after he took over, went into Christmas Day and beat the Chiefs in Kansas City, which, by the way, it's the last game Kansas City lost. They've won 9 in a row now, including the playoff.
Yeah.
And coming off a comeback fourth-quarter win at Baltimore, and then that wasn't an egg. That wasn't an omelet. That was a frittata.
Yeah. Do we still make those?
Anytime I can slip frittata into the show, I do.
We're going to try to do that. All right. So let's take. I mean, as we look at the schedule, you already mentioned the divisional games that are coming up this week. I'm kind of curious though, because I know you have a little bit of perspective to offer on this. The teams that are 1-2 or 0-3, and I'm going to point at the Bengals as well because they're sort of a surprising 0-3 at this stage. Does one team or another, whether you're 1-2 or over 3, have a definitive advantage for the remainder of the year? In other words, are they sunk as far as the postseason, or is it still too early to really make that kind of judgment?
It's early, but I will say this, and this is it's kind of weird. You know, the one thing I always watch for is opportunity. Okay,
yeah.
And it has nothing to do with playing easy opponents. It has everything to do with who you play and who you play in your division. Now, because the first 3 weeks of the season, we've only seen 7 divisional games. You know, there's very little to go on. Even though it's worth noting, the Rams have already played 2 divisional games. They lost to the Cardinals and then, wound up beating the 49ers and so on. But some of these teams have not. And I bring that up because, you know, you got a young quarterback in Chicago and Caleb Williams, okay? The offensive line is struggling. Defensively, they have played pretty respectable football. Every one of their games so far has been decided by 7 points or less. They beat the Titans by 7. They lost to Houston by 6. They lost to the Colts by 5, which means the Rams will be a 4-point game this week. After that, it'll be a 3-point game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I bring this up for this reason, because the NFC North, you got Minnesota as one of the 5 3-0 teams.
Yep.
Detroit and Green Bay are 2-1. They're sitting at 1-2.
Yep.
Nobody in that division has played a divisional game this year, although that changes this week because Minnesota goes to Green Bay.
Right.
So my point with the Bears is this. You heard a lot about Pittsburgh's schedule because they don't play a divisional foe until week 11, which is hard to believe.
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that. No, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, week 11 they play their first division game. But guess who else doesn't play their first division game until week 11? The Bears.
Bears, okay.
Which means they'll have all those teams, and if they can stay close.
Yeah, they're out of the way, yeah.
And hang around.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
You never know what can happen.
Right.
Okay? And this was a team last year that played, they were 7-6 after their 0-4 start. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they went into, they beat the Lions decisively at Soldier Field last year. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reigning division champion. So if you hang around, now if you're getting into the final 8 weeks of the season and you're 7 games behind a bunch of teams, I get it. But every year we see somebody start fast and fade. Every year we see someone start slow and catch fire.
Yeah.
You know, I think people kind of forget what the Chiefs, and I know the Chiefs, listen, they won back-to-back Super Bowls. Maybe it's a bad example. The Chiefs lost their opener last year, okay?
Yep.
They reeled off 6 in a row.
Yep.
Going into the playoffs, John, they were 5-5 in their last 10 games. They were mediocre at that. And it wasn't like they blew, other than Miami, they didn't blow anybody away.
What does that say? What does that say?
Yeah, well, it just says that things are getting, they find ways to win. People like to, and I don't care what you win by. If you win by 40 or you win by 1,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's the same adage.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit the ball off the tee, it hits a tree and it rolls onto the green and you put it in, it's still a birdie.
Mm-hmm. True. All right,
I don't know. It's so hard to tell what we have. Yeah.
Even more so today. I would say,
Yeah.
which is why I want to do this next little exercise with you. So play along here for a moment. I'm going to spotlight 3 teams, and I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me for real or fraudulent. Vikings at 3-0, who play the 2-1 Packers at Green Bay this weekend. For real or frauds?
I think Minnesota's for real because they have balance on offense, and Brian Flores did a hell of a job with the defense last year, and it may even be better this season. Losing Daniel Hunter in free agency I thought was tough, but it was funny. Houston and Minnesota actually wind up swapping their top pass rushers because Jonathan Greenard is there, and we saw what Minnesota did to Houston last week. Now, could they go into Green Bay and lose? Sure. Could Sam Darnold implode? Because we've seen him get off to some decent starts 1 year with Carolina as well.
Mm-hmm.
They have turned over the ball 4 times this year. It's not like they've played perfect football.
Mm-hmm.
But Darnold has been very, very poised. They have Aaron Jones, who knows what kind of comeback or reunion he's going to have with the Packers this week. Maybe let him loose and then sign Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
So, but no, as a football team, I think they are confident, physical, and balanced.
Okay. Steelers 3-0, playing at the 1-2 Colts. For real or frauds?
I don't know if they were frauds, but I think the jury is obviously still out.
Okay.
I mean, slowly, their offense is coming together. I mean, they had 0 touchdowns in week 1. They had 1 touchdown in week 2. They had 2 touchdowns in week 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And their defense has been smothering. And it's way too early to say this, but you know that every once in a while we have a team who puts on one of those defensive clinics for a year, okay? And it winds up being one of those years that even though their offense might be subpar or average at best, the defense carries them a long way.
Mm-hmm.
The last time we saw it were the Broncos in 2015, who, you know, Peyton Manning was on his last leg, to say the least, in that Super Bowl. I think they had 194 total yards and beat the Panthers by 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Okay? But their defense was the calling card. You know, we had the great defense of the Seahawks in 2013. We had the Buccaneers in 2002. Okay?
Yep.
Who, you know, Brad Johnson, okay. Offense, okay. Defense, opportunistic. They rammed 3 interceptions back in the Super Bowl for touchdowns.
Right.
Okay, and then the Ravens, you know, who started out with Tony Banks as their quarterback, and then got Trent Dilfer in there. I love pointing out the stats. It's actually one of Boomer's, Chris Berman's favorite numbers. The Baltimore Ravens in 2000, John, played 20 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, including the playoffs. They gave up 188 points.
Which is remarkable, yeah. That's remarkable.
Now, think about the team, like last year, for instance, Baltimore gave up the fewest points in the league, ironically.
Yeah.
They gave 280.
So, 100 points more, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
100 points more and 3 less.
Yeah, nuts.
3 fewer.
Nuts.
I know the rules are different. I know a lot of those things.
Yeah,
so
right.
To me, the Steelers are not frauds. They're not for real. They're really a work in progress offensively. But again, defensively,
they're there.
They have been scary. I mean, I think the Chargers had, and I know Herbert was hurt most of the second half. I think the Chargers had -5 yards in the second half last week.
Yep. So they're at least effective. Team number 3. And I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's affecting, you know, what the Patriots do in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, 3-0, playing at the 1-2 Ravens. And clearly, I think this may be the game of the week. I look forward to it, you know, on Sunday night. But fraudulent or for real?
I'm as surprised as what Buffalo has done. I really am. Because they were a team like Miami that were in salary cap hell this offseason. And you know some of the names they wound up by. Mitch Morse, their longtime center, got cut. Jordan Poyer, their safety, got cut.
Yep.
They wound up trading Stephon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was offense, defense. They made a lot of changes. And they have gone 34 points, 31 points, 47 points. I'm not still sure how good the defense is. But right now, Josh Allen played Monday night. This is going to sound weird. He played Monday night like he played that playoff game at Kansas City, the one they wound up losing in overtime, where he was just effortless in throwing the ball downfield. James Cook gives them a lot of balance. I think they are very much for real. but I'm not sure if their defense is real, at least not yet. They'll obviously get a big test this week, but I will say this. What's happened to the Ravens defense?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They led the league, co-holders of the most takeaways in the league last year, which by all teams. Do you know who? The Ravens had 31 takeaways last year and the best record in the league. You know who else had 31 takeaways last year, John?
31 takeaways
You're
last
never
year?
going to get this.
No.
The Giants.
Wait, what?
The Giants.
Had 31 takeaways.
Yes. And, boy, they really parlayed them into an amazing 6-11 season.
Yeah.
Okay? But
Wow.
Baltimore also gave up the fewest points in the league last year.
Yep.
So they've given up 27.
Wow.
They've given up 26. They've given up 25. So I'm looking for Buffalo to get 24 this week. It's just a matter if they can hold off Lamar Jackson and the offense and so on. But Baltimore's not having any trouble scoring. And they certainly have any trouble giving the ball to Derrick Henry last week, who I think has at least one touchdown in every game
Right.
he's played so far this season.
Yeah, seems like it, right? Yeah.
This is a bigger game for Baltimore than really it is for Buffalo. If Buffalo can nail this and go into Baltimore and send Baltimore to 1-3,
Sure.
that obviously gives them a big early advantage in the conference, a head-to-head tiebreaker. And, we've seen Buffalo in the play. Now, it's funny. They waited a couple of years to get some more home playoff games. They lost to Cincinnati a couple of years ago badly. Last year, they lost to Kansas City in the divisional round. They finally got the Chiefs at home and didn't do anything with it. So we'll see. But I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you didn't. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Defense, wait and see.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with all the above. Russell, thank you so much. As we always thank you, but your insight is invaluable. It gets me thinking, so I appreciate that. And I'll see if I can come up with another one or two to buffalo you a little bit for next week.
Oh, no, that's good. Listen, I'll throw out a question to the group, and I'll throw it out to you real quick.
Shoot.
3 weeks into the season, there's only one team in the league that hasn't committed a turnover. Any idea who?
One team presently that has not committed a turnover.
Yes.
Is it a 3-0 team?
Nope.
I didn't think so. But that's as far as I can go.
And here's the hook, and you'll see this in my key stats page. This team last year turned over the ball 32 times.
Good grief. Who hasn't turned it over? Is it Washington?
It is Washington.
Attaboy. I have to give Marine credit on that one. That was his guess. And so, okay, all right, there you go. Washington, son of a gun.
You had a 1 out of 32 shot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's go play the lotto then, Marine, and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I played the numbers tonight. I played 8675309.
Can I Google the lotto numbers?
Google 8675309.
Yeah, good luck with that. Who can I turn to?
Exactly. I love it. Thank you, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
Good luck, and good luck with your assignment per se.
Oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Little banquet. We're on the banquet circuit tonight, so that's where we're going.
All right. Well, listen, if someone doesn't eat their salad, grab it.
I usually do. Thanks, buddy. The one and only Russell S. Baxter at Bax Football Guru on X. Where you can find him. Getting ready for a marathon game day watch party? Make sure you're well rested with a brand new mattress from Bob's Discount Furniture. When you dare to compare Bob's top-rated signature mattresses, cutting-edge Bobopedic technology, and everyday low prices, and I'm talking about over $1,000 less than the competition, you can sleep well knowing you've snagged a winning combination of top-of-the-line features and unbeatable values. So stop in, see how much you can save when you dare to compare with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. A couple of emails that I do want to share with you guys here. Aiden in California. John, man, that team looked like it played OT the Sunday before on a short week. No excuses for not showing up, but on to the Niners. I came to the conclusion that we need to play Drake. I was not in this camp before, but we need to see what we have and build around it. It's a tough spot with the Niners this week, but fans here are nervous about the game. Aiden's in California. So with a tight game, that'll be won by the Patriots, 23-17. They're wounded, or they too are wounded, and we're catching them at a good time. Always good to hear from you, Aiden. Howard in Stratford, Connecticut. John, with respect to the Jets game, the term I used was disappointing. I was completely disappointed with the coaching staff and its lack of preparedness of a plan as well as getting the players ready for that game. I get they're young, inexperienced, but I expected better. Short week or not. Me too. As for the Niners, I do see this as a chance to steal a win. I think the Pats pull it off, 23-20. I don't think they start May here, but I, too, am a start May guy. Hopefully they come around to that way of thinking. And Pat Nagawam, good afternoon, John and Marine. I called it again last week. I'm going to make a bold prediction for this week. San Francisco wins 34-31. Yes, the Patriots will score 31 points. What is Pat smoking? Patty.
Usually a lot.
Yeah, Patty. This will only be because Jacoby gets benched at halftime and Drake Maye takes the reins for the rest of the year, but his comeback attempt comes up just short this week. All right, Patty, you know we love you. By the way, did I call it last week? I did, right? I said Drake Maye was going to play, didn't I? Call me now for your free reading.
Call me now for your free reading.
Yeah, I think maybe you should. You should think about that. Football season is here. Sullivan Tire and Auto Service kicks things off in a big way with our exclusive Go Pats Tire sale. Now through October 31st, score big with incredible savings on Bridgestone tires. Save $100 instantly with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Bridgestone, the official tire of the New England Patriots, and see sullivantire.com for complete details. Go Patriots. And, of course, the show is brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. Thanks to Russell Baxter, Andrew Callahan, the Boston Herald, our one and only Evan Lazar, who will be, of course, in San Francisco, to the Marine, who always sets it all up. Patriots and the 49ers get the afternoon late game for 15, 20, whatever kickoff ends up rolling around Eastern time. So we'll have more on that, talk about that, and preview the next one coming up this same time, same Pats channel next week here in Patriots Playbook.
Call me now for your free reading.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.